Hello, my fellow filmmakers. Rob Longo here, Abracadabra.Media. I want to talk to you about hey, why haven't you started your screenplay? Or why haven't you finished your screenplay yet? I recently had a very, interesting conversation with a fellow writer who was waiting for inspiration. And we had a little discussion about the difference between inspiration and motivation. Yes, a muse, inspiration is important. That's kind of what lights the first spark for you to start to write your story, be it a screenplay, a comic book, or a novel. However, don't confuse inspiration and motivation. Motivation is what gets your ass in the seat and gets you writing every day, 1 to 6 pages, do or die, no matter what. I think one of the problems with writing is we tend to romanticize it a lot and we put up a lot of barriers in front of us with writing. And what I mean by that is we romanticize that, oh, the muse has to come down and whisper in your ear and tell you what to write and how to unlock the secret stories within your heart. That's not true. If you want to write, you have to get your ass in the seat. Period. You got to motivate yourself to make it a habit. It is not a romantic thing. It is bleeding on paper. And you just have to do it, have to get it done. Now, certainly some people who write a lot and write professionally, that's much easier for them than it is for you or me. I suggest you find a method that works for you. And with writing, there's two types of writers only. There are plotters, and then there are, from their seat of their pants. Stephen King is an incredibly prolific writer. He's a very seat of the pants kind of writer. He sits, he writes wherever the story takes him. That's where it takes him. Wherever the characters take him, that's where the story goes. And that works really well to get very genuine, real, complicated, multi-layered characters. But if you're struggling with writing, I have a secret, and I didn't make it up. I just fell into it. I'm not even sure where I got it from, but it's pretty simple. The first thing I do is I write out, let me get it for you here. I make like an outline, and the outline is just scenes that I kind of have a need for, that I want to include in it, an act one, an act two, an act three, and then the scenes for each act. And I try to fill it out as much as possible, but it's a simple outline, it's nothing written in stone. I don't have to follow it exactly. But here's where it really gets very, very interesting and useful. I use colored index cards. For each scene, color coordinated to the act. So like a red would be an act 3, a yellow would be an act 2 scene, and a green is an act 1 scene. I write the scene. I write who's in the scene and a little bit about the scene. Then when it's time to write, I actually write to the index card. This prevents me from ever staring at a blank page because, staring at a blank page at the cafe after you've had 4 lattes with 3 espresso shots each in them, you are not at your best to write at that moment. You might look cool being at the cafe, doing your screenwriting or your novel writing and being a writer and living that life, but you're not getting words on the page. And that is the point. Outline, index cards. And another benefit of the index cards, not only are you writing to the scene to the index cards, so you're never staring at a blank page or an outline, you can lay out all the index cards, act 1, act 2, act 3, and move them around and get a better beat for your story overall. And you can also kill some babies. Some index cards, some scenes just don't work anymore. And then when inspiration does hit, when you're in the shower, in the car, or whatever, you just write down the title of the scene and you add that later on to the index card and flesh it out. That has saved me many times and helped me write many a screenplay. Other thing I recommend, and always be learning, of course, is invest in a couple of books on writing. I just picked up Save the Cat Writes Horror. I know how to write horror. I know how to write. But, there's probably like a few gems in here or a few reminders that I myself need. So always be educating yourself. Don't be afraid, though, to also read books that aren't exactly in the same genre or even profession. This Words for Pictures is more for comic books, but comic books and, storytelling, be it a screenplay novel, very similar, highly recommend it. Also, and this is a big one, before you really even write your screenplay or your novel, you should build that world. And one of the best ways to build the world, and you'll hear me say this all throughout the channel over and over again, are tabletop role playing games. Dungeons and Dragons, Blood of Heroes, superhero RPGs, what have you. Buy a role playing game world building book. This one is the Ultimate RPG Game Master's World Building Guide by James D'Amato. Highly recommend a good world building book because it allows you to flesh out the world that your characters exist in. The more your characters are fleshed out, both their name, their history and background, and their mannerisms, and the world they live in, the easier it is for you to make it come alive for your readers or viewers. Pretty simple, pretty awesome. Then I also suggest, if you're having trouble like in any kind of like writer's block or anything, get something like Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. It's a great little book, easy to read, easy to just, pick up every so often when you need a little inspiration and you're having a little self-doubt. And then the other one I think every artist should get, whether you're a filmmaker, a writer, ballerina, doesn't matter. Get The War of Art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. Because we all have battles and we all have demons. And it's important to wage war so you can win victory after victory within your art. And that's by Stephen Pressfield. I would probably even buy this book first before any others, just because it's that important. And then from there, you can even get different applications that help you out. I use Evernote a lot to collect information and background on stories. Anvil, while it is a little bit more, I think, for tabletop role-playing games, it is a great source to build out whole fantasy worlds and everything. Highly suggest it. Scrivener or Celtic for your writing. Final Cut. Is it Final Cut? No, Final Draft for your screenwriting. I don't use that. I use Celtic and I use Scrivener for my novels. And then, or if you don't have that, don't put barriers in front of you. You don't need Final Draft to write a screenplay. Yes, it's great because it's got a great format, but Caltech is free, or Microsoft Word, or Google Docs, whatever you have. Don't put barriers in front of you that stop you from making your art. Go make your art, make your film, submit it to Abracadabra, and I look forward to watching your movie or reading your book. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, and all that fun stuff.